Do we need the markers to go away in ARB and other modes? Let's talk a little bit about it. Hello guys, once again, it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons. Make sure to subscribe, and there was a guy that actually posted a whole post, I will leave the links in the description, about ARB reworks, and one of the reworks would be basically taking off the markers for especially ARB, right? But more game modes if possible, or it depends on the situation, and that it's a very broad question no matter what, right? It depends on what people want to see, and he even did a small little poll asking people to actually vote of what they would look like to see in these matches, right? So I will leave it in the description, as I said, but I can already say that 67% for now voted that they wanted to keep the markers as is, 20% for the markers off, and 13% for the markers on any enemies that are close, basically, right? And it's kind of interesting to see that, because honestly, for the old guard of players that have been playing this game for a very long time, you will see a majority of players just wanting the markers to be off. Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, it was what people were thinking about, at least, that this was a thing, and apparently it isn't, according to this poll, right? Which means that there aren't that many people that really want the marker to be off. And what is the problem with the marker going away, basically, especially in ARB? Well, the main thing is, of course, people that are going to play passively the game, right? People that are going to just run away from everybody and do their own thing, right? So, for example, if you had a tornado IDS, for example, you could just fly really low to the ground and basically just run away, destroy bases, and that would be it. Nobody would really see you unless they are actively pursuing you, and of course with their radar, right? But depending on the BR and stuff, unless it's a higher tier, and even in a higher tier, it might be difficult to find people flying very low to the ground. Sometimes you will be kind of invisible. And I think that's the main problem, and that's what people might think that is the problem with not having markers into the game. I think another one is that it kind of becomes maybe too realistic for some people, People don't want to just get destroyed out of nowhere by a missile from a guy that is invisible because you cannot see a marker, right? People want to play a game to have fun. And when you get killed without too much of a reason and without knowing how and when and where the guy was shooting at you, etc., it can be a very problematic thing, right? And yeah, all of these things are indeed a problem. If you don't have the markers and it's a big thing to change it up, that would be maybe the major thing. But what if we did have this thing without the problems? How could it be, right? I mean, there are ways, just like in real life, for you to actually have no markers, that you would still have some forms of ways of knowing where the targets are. Of course, the major one is obviously the radar itself, but of course we have problems with that because there are many aircrafts, like maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing here, but I would suggest that 70-80% maybe of the aircraft that we have in the game either don't have a radar or don't have a usable radar for a target that is flying low enough, so that problem would remain, right? So another way that they can actually deal with that would be maybe to have an AWACS or something like that, looking out for you. Oh, if there is a target behind you or something, maybe somebody tells you, or something like that. But to be honest, at the end of the day, we would still need to test any of these, changes to actually have maybe a way of adding it to the game, So maybe the idea here is not to actually just remove the markers altogether, but maybe the idea would be to ask the players, just like that guy is doing on the forum, but in a more active way, because Gaijin has the power. What if they actually just did a match in the events tab that don't have markers in ARB, and see how it goes, you know? Change the maps a little bit and tweak and have as an event, and see how players would react to it and, you know, deal with it. And maybe even test some you know, situations where it could be a fix to the problems that I told you guys about, like the AUX or something, right? That would be a place to actually test those things as well. So it is a big problem. I think it's been a talking point for a while in War Thunder, but let me know in the comments and go out there and vote on whether you think markers should be off or not in the game. I think we need to at least take a closer look if there is a better way to deal with it, basically, right? See you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and bye guys.